The very definition of alternative currency, I think, is something we could debate. And what is an alternative currency? You could look at like the use of shells, or ancient stones, or other primitive currencies that go back to before things like governmental currencies even existed. For me, the definition really is joined with the idea of a government-issued currency, like the idea that there is an alternative to the formal or official legal tender. So I think the alternative currency that's most interesting is really a class of alternative currencies in countries like England called merchant tokens, which were developed by businesses a few hundred years ago to basically solve the fact that there just weren't a lot of small denomination coins in circulation. You could think of like today, imagine if we didn't have any pennies or nickels. Merchants basically stepped in and created small coins to kind of grease the wheels of commerce. The King of England did try to ban merchant tokens, but interestingly, the ban only worked temporarily. The fundamental economic need for merchant tokens persisted despite the ban. And I think that says something interesting about how far regulation can go. If you don't solve the economic problem or gap that something like a merchant token or alternative currency is filling, then you should expect it probably to return. There were some common themes that led to the creation of alternative currencies. Some kind of economic disruption, a loss of confidence in the financial system, or even just a shortage of currency. We had deflation and basically a shrinking of the money supply in the 1930s. That was a big part of why we had a depression. Communities stepped in to create their own currency. You had people who were ready to work, but there was no money to pay them. And so you saw local economies basically try to invent, local currencies, and these became quite popular. They flourished in the 1930s. But as we came out of the Great Depression, that problem, that shortage of money, the lack of employment started to abate, and we saw these alternative currencies, which couldn't be used like in the town next door or across the country. We saw them start to basically disappear. I think today, no one would argue that our financial system and money are as efficient as they could be. If you send an email or a text message, it's free and almost instantaneous, pretty much, anywhere around the world. Whereas if you try to, spend money or transfer money, you can pay 3, 5, over 10% even in fees and foreign exchange conversion costs. It's not as fast and efficient and easy to use as something like text messaging and email, yet there's no theoretical reason it shouldn't be. So I think alternative currencies